right, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, have a good night. All right, welcome back to a brand new video of the Target Individual Program, Gentleman Express. So I think I might have gotten the footage of you'll see a guy with a bike pulled up next to the bus and was doing a hand signal. You know, I still had my phone recording. I didn't turn, look, she's puffing a cigarette. I see you, lady. Just like the dude walk past puffing a cigarette. She sits down there, she sees me, she puffing her cigarette. Let me tell you, man, she's hilarious. They are literally hilarious. And then the New York Furniture Department drove by the bus, not this one, actually this was this one. And I was able just to get a little bit of, because when the bus made the turn, I said, let me record, because hopefully I'll show you guys. They drove by the bus, used their sirens and their flashing lights, just briefly, you know. Oh yeah, black vehicle across the street. Walk, that got over here. He reverse. You know, the little movement, the little things like that is what they do. Is again, is how they, when they do stuff like that, right? What is he doing? What is he doing? All right. And I talk about how what they do is that they prime you. So when I left Pam's apartment, you know, the white guy wearing black, you know, and then everybody, because you see, right, when I walk to the bus stop I usually walk to, you know, and I turn back around, everybody else on the sidewalk was wearing black, right? All right, so you'll see, you know, what it is that they do. Okay. So as I said, as I walked here, you know, I saw the vehicle. You know, he was sitting there, and as soon as I walked here, then he reversed, which is something that, you know, like I said, they'll normally do. All right, those little movement, those little subtle things that they do. Like I said, but I'm keen on what it is that they do. Very keen. Also, don't think I didn't notice that he's wearing a red cap, right? All right, don't think you know, that's what they do. Anyhow, let me shift my focus. Yeah, what was I saying before? Oh yes, I was talking about the old Asking Older Men. That's a YouTube channel. And you know, this is an older man, older black man, and he, you know, gives relationship advice. He talks about, you know, the mindset of today's dating market. Even though he's been married for 20-something years, right? But I think he began to understand what was going on. So his content is geared towards both men and women, and enlighten men and women, enlightening them in terms of the truth and what's going on. And the video he posted today, he might have posted it yesterday, but I watched it today, is how women are lied to, particularly how pretty women are lied to, right? And he talks about, you know, how your average woman don't consider herself to be average. She considers herself to be a 10, right? You see, us average men, you know, we accept the fact that we may be average, you know. Some of us may be above average in looks, but when it comes to employment, salary, we're average, right? Some of us may be above average in salary, and then when it comes to looks in terms of what women find attractive, we're below average or average, right? So for men, it's and for women, it's a different dynamics. The difference is men don't walk around saying that that they're that like we don't rate ourselves. Women rate themselves, and then they ask men to rate them. And when men tell them the truth, they get upset, right? Particularly when they're younger. They may hear people say, "Oh, you're so cute. You're so pretty. What have you, such." And again, it's mostly women and men too. Men will lie to you too. As a woman, men will lie to women in order to get in their panties. Okay, because that's again, you have to understand the biological nature of men as well as the biological nature of females, of women, right? Also the psychological nature of a man and the psychological nature of women. Like I said, men, we can't get upset because women want top tier men. Okay, because listen, that's part of who they are. They're hypergamous, right? They're hardwired for that. Just as how we as men, we're hardwired for sex, they are hardwired for hypergamy, right? Which is, they're always going to want the better man, the man who they think is going to protect them, and again, who they believe, not think, who they believe is going to protect them, based on size, height, these things, right? These things come into play. The only thing that comes into play for men, the majority of the time, is size in terms of woman's weight, right? And attractiveness, right? Men don't consider height a big deal as women do, right? You'll see dudes who are like over 6 feet tall and they're dating or married to women who are like 5'2", 5'3", 5'4", 5'6". You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter, but for women it matters, right? The majority of women, not all women now. You have some women out there who know. It's like, listen, we're almost the same height. You might be a little bit taller than me. You're still taller, But for some women, a man that's 6 feet and over, their instinct, their natural instinct is to see that man as a protector. I'm not talking about finance, you know what I'm saying, but I'm talking about protector. And, there's something of which a woman looks up at a man, it does something to a woman, right? So not only in terms of the man's status, but also in terms of his height and his build, right? So one of the things that he's talking about, he's like how average women, they lie to themselves, and he's like, what these women don't understand is that sometimes the above average looking man will sleep with an average or below average chick, because sometimes a man just want to bust a nut, right? That's all. You know what I'm saying? But that's because of who men are. Now society has tamed the expectations and those things for men, and but not for women though, because with feminism, women have been more hypersexualized and are now sleeping with more men. With I should say not more men, but are now more women are sleeping with the same men as opposed to sleeping with average men. Most women in the society will sleep with the majority will sleep with 20% of those men who they find attractive, who they find to be someone that they want to have kids with, right? And then you will find some men who are average will sleep with average women and have kids with average women, but that's a very small percentage of those men and women, right? I mean, all you gotta do is walk into any community, right? You will see women, different height, different weight, right? Different level of attractiveness, unattractiveness. You'll see within those traits or those physical and varieties, as well as attractiveness. You will see they're having kids, right? There are some men and women who walk out here, like for me, I see some women out here, I'm just like, damn, like somebody really, got her pregnant. You know what I'm saying? And it's not the fact that she may not be attractive, but it's the fact that we tend to forget that you have different body types, right? So when you hear men talking about New York Police Department, or they don't turn off your flash, the lights. They had the light shining as they was going this way before they passed. They had that searchlight on, right? So anyhow, but they turned it off as soon as they flew past. So you hear some men say, "Damn, she look like a linebacker." Yeah, she look like a linebacker, but somebody knocked her, or somebody got her pregnant. Let me just say knocked her, but somebody got her pregnant, right? You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of women, particularly how they're conditioned, right? And particularly, again, you have to also blame a lot of the attractive women who are being used to push this narrative, right? In which, they will tell their girlfriends who are overweight, they're not going to say, hey, why don't you lose some weight? That will help you in your dating. You're pretty, but lose some weight. They're not telling them that. And a lot of women are being paid. You got to understand that. A lot of women are being paid to push a narrative amongst average looking women, or even below average, what you would call below average looking women, right? Because again, beauty is subjective. Okay? Look at dude over there. Yeah, I see you, dude. In the store, wearing all black. Trying to stick his head out. Look. Yeah, bro. Come on. But anyhow, right? So these women are being paid. When you go on social media, particularly YouTube, and you look at the women who are creating content for other women and telling them lies, the majority of these women are attractive. They're not overweight, right? They're into fitness, okay? And then you look at those who are like Kendra G, and you have other women who are doing this whole dating shows, right? And these women will come on there with totally unrealistic expectation, and they don't want to tell them the truth. They don't want to say, hey, you need to temper your expectation. You got 3 kids, you're over 40, you're overweight, right? But yet you want a man who you say you want to travel the world with, but what happened to your 3 kids? Right? You know what I'm saying? That means that man at some point going to have to take all you and your 3 kids on vacation. That's money that he has to spend. And what is he getting in return? What does he get in return? Can you cook? Are you feminine? Are you friendly? Right? Are you agreeable? Right? Do you know how to support a man? Support his vision, his dream. Or you just want to just be the wallet and fund your lifestyle and your children's lifestyle, which by the way are not his, right? So how did these women get the idea in their mind, right, that they can just leave relationships with 2, 3, and 4 kids and believe that a man is out there is going to come and so-called save them, right? That's what they said. They want a man to save them, right? Okay, and you'll find, like I said, some of the biggest women from 300 pounds, 200 pounds, hella overweight, and they all have the same mindset. And when I talk about cognitive warfare, psychological conditioning, as I said, go on and look at the movie Inception, right? With Leonardo DiCaprio. Who else is in that movie? But it's the like I said, they show these things in the movies because we only look at them as entertainment, right? And I didn't really start seeing those type of messages until I saw the very first movie I saw that I started to see the hidden messages in these movies was a movie starring Christian Bale, where he was a Vietnam POW. You know, he was held captive, one of the longest POW held captive of American soldiers in Vietnam. I forgot the name of it, but go and look at that movie. And then I said, just go and look at that movie, and then also look at the hand signals in that movie. Look at how the actors, how their mannerism, particularly with their hands, right? So in that movie, you know, the message in that movie is about not only was he a POW, right, but he remained steadfast in terms of not being brainwashed into say he denounced the United States and so forth and so forth and so forth, right? So even through all of that, he has to remain loyal, right? Has to remain loyal. Okay. Then the second movie was a movie with Nicole Kidman. I think it was called They. Is it They? You know, where these aliens will come. It's like the invasion of the Body Snatcher, and there was one scene where she's standing in the hallway, and then she does the upside down peace sign hand signal, right? So that was another movie, and that movie again is how they hijack your consciousness, right? The idea of an outside entity, other than it being some religious, delusional, ghost and demons type of shit that we've been taught through by Hollywood, okay? You know what I'm saying? And the Bible, you know. But that movie shows is that how outside entity, an external entity, can hijack your mind, your consciousness. Okay. And so there's been a few movies, you know, and then I was watching Bobby Hemmett, and he really put me onto other movies because this brother was saying exactly what I've been saying. You know, but he's more into the metaphysics and he's more of a historian and interpreting different type of spiritual systems, particularly Kemetic spiritual systems. Very brilliant scholar and teacher. And I was like, holy crap, man! You know, and then he started talking about silent sound and radio wave and microwave frequency. Yeah, look, y'all looking over there at the vehicle over there. But anyway, microwave and radio wave frequency, he's talking about that stuff. And also Dr. Phil Valentine's silent sound spread spectrum. Oh, wait. Watch. Yeah, she was looking over there to do it in the vehicle. Look. Opens up both his car doors. Right? But anyway, Dr. Phil Valentine was talking about how they use radio wave frequency to program us when we're sleeping, right? For us to buy things. So this is why, like I said, in the black community, not only because of the lack of economic resource, but also technology being used to program us to be consumers, right? This is what they do. Okay. And so yeah, I tell you, through my years of targeting. Through my years of targeting, man, let me tell you, I found out that there's a lot of people out there who are targeted, and they don't view it as them being targeted like me as a TI. Come on, man, come on. All right.